Hello, everyone, and welcome to Red Hawk Spotlight. My name is Jared Alvarez, and today I have head coach of the Montclair men's basketball team, Coach Justin Potts. Coach Potts, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jared.
So I have to ask, what's your MSU experience been like so far?
It's been remarkable. This is a great institution, obviously, and I've been welcomed with open arms. I've been here about 3 months. Seems like only a couple days, but from Rob Chesney, our athletic director, all the way down through the coaches in the department, kind of helping me get adjusted and comfortable with the institution and the campus and all that kind of stuff. And then the guys have been great, and that's a large part of it, obviously, as a coach, to be you're around your players a lot. And we got great kids that are working hard. But just really happy. I'm a Jersey guy originally, so to be back in New Jersey is special for me, and just looking forward to continue to build a really solid program.
So why Montclair State? I mean, you did leave your alma mater in Moravian College, so why Montclair?
Tell you what, if I had $1 for every time I've been asked that question, Jared, I might have been able to retire in the last couple of months. You know what? My alma mater is obviously special to me, and a place that I take great pride in. We built a really good program. In 4 years, we went to 3 conference championships, won 2 of them. So we were in a great spot. But this just really intrigued me when I started looking into it. And seeing what Montclair State's done in the past 15 to 18 years or so, how much it's grown. When I was growing up, it was pretty much a commuter school, not too many buildings on the campus. So when I came here for my interview and walked around, I was blown away. Largest state school in New Jersey, or second largest state school in New Jersey. The opportunity, what it can do academically for young people. I believe what they're trying to do from the athletic standpoint. They're really investing into the athletic programs and trying to be successful, not only within the NJAC, but within the region and then on a national scale. So I was just really, it just really pulled me this way, and wasn't an easy decision, but it was the best decision for me and my family, and just really excited to see what we can do here.
Now, coming with you, you have 2 out of the 3 assistant coaches, Coach Sean Rossi and your former player, Coach O'Neill Holder. Talk about, coming to a new environment and having guys surrounding you that you already know.
Yeah, it obviously makes the transition a little bit eeasier. The best thing for a head coach is to have good assistants. They make me look a lot smarter than I actually am. Coach Rossi's got a great mind for the game. A little bit of information for you. He's the all-time assist leader in the history of Division III basketball. So it's a pretty unique situation, and he's still top 10 in the history of all college basketball. So obviously had a very decorated playing career. Does a really good job on the offensive side of the ball and has a good understanding. And then Coach O, as we call him, O'Neill. He won me a lot of basketball games at Moravian, so I owed him a lot. He was looking to get into the profession. This was a good opportunity for him. Those guys have done a remarkable job with our players and getting ingrained into the campus community and understanding, what can make us successful here. The guys really gravitate towards them. I spent 15 years as an assistant before I became a head coach, so I have a great amount of respect for what goes into being an assistant. And I think you're really only as good as your assistants are, and I'm lucky to have 2 of the best in the business, in my opinion. And they're fun to be around. We work like crazy and we work hard, but we also enjoy ourselves, and we have a good camaraderie within the office. And I'm an equal opportunity guy. I want them to have a voice in what we do, and they both have strong opinions. I'm not going to listen to all of them, but I will hear them, and then I'll make the ultimate decision. But those guys are remarkable and are going to do great things for this place.
Touching up on that, assistant coach Holder calls you the GOAT on his Instagram. Yeah. Did you saw that, and did you take appreciation in that?
Yeah, I have seen that. I'm old, so the GOAT phrase wasn't around when I was in my prime. Obviously it's a compliment. I think there's a lot of guys that are probably better than me in the profession, which is okay. But I think it shows at least the respect that he has for me. And as I tell my players all the time, I love every guy I've ever coached. I'm gonna coach them really hard and care for them. And I think they know I care for them as people first and foremost, which O'Neill definitely knows. O'Neill and I have a unique bond. He's the first member of his family to graduate college. We spent a lot of days in the office where he didn't like everything I was trying to tell him to do, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, I think he realized what I was trying to get him to accomplish, and I think that's maybe why he feels the way he does about me, and vice versa.
So you said that you spent 15 years as an assistant coach. What did you learn from that experience that led you to become a head coach?
Probably the best part about being an assistant is you're undefeated, right? You never really technically lose a game because you don't make the decisions ultimately. I think what I learned is that there's a lot that goes into being a head coach. I had the fortunate pleasure of working for a guy named Jeff Wilson at East Stroudsburg University, which is a state school in Pennsylvania, for 13 years, and we built a really successful program. And I was able to kind of learn and watch and understand what made him successful. And I tried to take, a lot of those traits and obviously still be my own man and my own coach, but take the work ethic that he had, the discipline that he had, the relationship building within the program. All those kind of things are foundations of what I try to do as a head coach. And I think just trying to understand that every guy in the program has the same status, but every guy has a different role. And you can't coach each guy the same. They have their own personalities and they respond to things their own way. And I think as a coach, you have to find what works for guys and what doesn't work. I think I've done a pretty good job of getting a grasp of what makes guys tick and what makes them, figure things out. But really the most important thing about being a head coach is being a servant leader and just understanding that you're there for your players and you're there for your assistants. I have a responsibility, not a job, to grow these guys as people, and then I have a responsibility to my assistants to give them the chance to hopefully be head coaches someday.
I was talking to Coach Sean Rossi yesterday, and he mentioned East Stroudsburg, and he was like, Jared, you have to bring it up because you actually coached that you were the head coach for the women's basketball team and at the same time the assistant coach for the men's basketball team. Talk about how that was like.
And in my first year of marriage. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and I'm still married. So, you know what? It was a challenge. The women's coach had resigned fairly late in the summer. They did a search. The search didn't land a head coach. So I had run some workouts for them. They came to me and said, hey, you're going to have to coach the women's team. I had no experience coaching women before. I hadn't been a head coach at that point in my career, obviously. So I coached 55 games that year. 25 as the head coach of the women, or 27 as the head coach of the women, and then obviously I was the men's assistant. I learned a lot about time management. Learned a lot about finding ways to get through long days, back-to-back practices where you have 4 hours of practice. It's a long time. I tell there were 3 seniors on that women's team. That obviously was a tough way for them to end their career. I kind of was the interim in a way, but they knew I wasn't going to be the coach going forward. And they still come to my house every Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And we get together and just kind of talk about the season and those kind of things and reminisce. And I'm pretty sure that's the reason I have 2 daughters. I spent that year coaching the women's team, and I said, that's impacted my future, obviously, because I got 2 young girls at home. But really, for me, it was a great experience because I got to learn some things that worked as head coach, some things that didn't. I probably lost about 15 pounds, so I struggled a little bit there. I didn't get a chance to eat a whole lot, but I think the biggest thing I learned was as different as the men's and women's game can be from a style standpoint and maybe X and O wise, people are the same. And you got to treat them the same way. When you're coaching the guys or coaching the girls, they want the same thing. They want to be coached and learn what can help make them successful. It'll probably be the first chapter in a book if I ever write one.
You have a close relationship with your players, and I was at practice this week, and you get into it with your players in terms of the big man might finish a dunk and you want to be in there and they dunked on you, but you guys had fun with it. How do you keep it loose and fun, but at the same time know how to get results? Yeah,
I think it's a fine balance, obviously. The reality in college basketball is it's the longest season in any college sport. So they start their preseason stuff in September, and by the time the season ends, you're hoping it's March. So it's a really long grind, as they say. So I think for the guys, you got to keep it fresh a little bit, and you got to have some fun with it. I think what I try to do is in between the lines, I'm pretty competitive. You've been at practice and seen, I'm going to coach guys hard and I'm going to coach them hard and hug them later, as I say. So they know that I'm going to be pretty demanding on them. But then when we're doing some drills that I think we can have a little bit of fun with, I'm going to try to jump in. I was a college basketball player. I was a bad one, but I did play. So I think for those guys, it's fun to be able to have the head coach in there, and if they're dunking on me and that livens practice up a little bit, that's good. There's a time to have fun. There's a time to be serious. I think what I try to do is find a good balance of those two. But at the end of the day, we're playing a sport, you know what I mean? And it's a game, so we should be able to have a little bit of fun while we're out there working.
The team this year is averaging more than 100 points per game, which is pretty astonishing in terms of college hoops. How do you guys keep the pace going for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, it's a good question. The style is obviously brand new for them. I've been a part of it for 13 years at East Stroudsburg and my 4 at Moravian. So it's very comfortable for me. They're still trying to figure it out a little bit, but basically what we're trying to do is generate as much tempo and pace as we can. So if you look at the average Division III game, it's generating about 78 possessions. We're generating 90. So we're getting an extra 12 possessions a game, which is obviously giving us a chance to score a little bit more, maybe turn people over and those kind of things. Really, the way to do that is press for 40 minutes and be really aggressive at that end of the floor. And then obviously on the other end, push the ball in transition and try to play in space, as we say. And then you have to have a bench. You gotta have some depth. You gotta have guys that you can bring off the bench. So most college teams are gonna play 7, 8 guys, maybe 9. We've played 10 in every game, and we're trying to get to play 11 or 12, hopefully, as we continue to grow and develop. So really, it's a commitment to them. Understanding they got to be in shape to get up and down the floor that many times, and then they got to sacrifice for each other. They can't play 35 to 40 minutes. It's just not going to happen. So they're going to play 25 to 30 is going to be the max. So it's a sacrifice for them, and then just an understanding of, hey, as much as people think basketball philosophy, to me, that's a life philosophy. You want something, attack it, be aggressive, and try to go get what you want in life.
We had a discussion in the earlier beginning of the year, and you said, Jared, expect the full 94 feet attacking, full press. Coach Sean Rossi said there's a meaning behind it. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I just think kind of like what I just said. For me, it's about life. I'm dealing with 18 to 22-year-old young men that one of our foundations of our program is to develop great future fathers and great future husbands. So what I'm trying to get them to understand is if you want something in life, then dictate how that's going to get there. So if you want the job, in New York City, wherever, whatever it may be, then what are you going to do to get there? Well, hopefully you're going to be aggressive in your academic pursuits and you're going to work as hard as you can there. For us, we want to win a basketball game. So I'm not going to let the other team dictate how the game is going to be played. We're going to make the decision of how we're going to play the game. And if they can handle that and beat us, we tip our hat to them and say, good game. Most of the time they can't. And if we can dictate how we're going to do it in the manner we want to do it, I think it gives us a chance to be successful. And again, to me, it's a life philosophy. I wanted to be a college coach growing up. Here I am today, 20 years into the profession. What I try to do is attack it in every way I could to get where I wanted to go. And I think for guys that are 18 to 22, or even just college students in general, in the world that you guys are in, there's a lot of opportunities. And there's a lot of opportunities to say what you want, but maybe not put the work behind it. So I want our guys to say, I'm going to say, hey, we're going to run and press. We're going to play 94 feet for 40 minutes. We're never going to give into it. And hopefully that kind of gets ingrained into them and they become aggressive in their pursuit of what job they want, and all the things they want to get out of the rest of their life.
A term student athlete is very controversial because a lot of people view it as more athlete-student. How do you and the assistant coaches make sure that academics come first?
Yeah, that's the most important part of our program. In 20 years as a college coach, I've been a part of 8 championships and been really successful, and that's been a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, the most rewarding thing is watching a guy walk across the stage. So I've been to 19 graduations so far. My 20th will be this year. And that's the best part about it. And I've seen every aspect. I've seen guys come in that have struggled to get to the degree. I've seen guys come in and have a pretty good idea exactly what they're going to do and have no issues. We spend a lot of time with them off the court. We're relationship driven, so open door policy. They can come in. We check on their classes. So if they got class at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, we'll be standing outside the door. They have academic meetings with the assistants at least every 10 days or so. And the ultimate goal for a college basketball player is to not let the game use them, but use the game. So a lot of these guys might be here because of basketball, and it opened up a door for them to, meet a coach and find a way into the program. But once they're here, let's take advantage of a world-class education, and let's make sure that we are all working as hard as we can to get you the degree you want, so you can get the job you want, live in the house you want, drive the car you want. And as I tell them all the time, I got 2 degrees. I don't need a third one. It's up to them to do the work, but we're going to put a crazy amount of time into supporting them with every ounce we have to make sure they get the degree and move forward. And again, watching them walk across the stage or seeing them come into the office and say, hey, I just got an A on a project or whatever it may be, that's the most rewarding part of being a coach.
Last question. December 7th, first home game. Are you excited?
You know what? We spent a lot of time on the road, Jared. I can't wait to play in Panzer. It's a unique schedule, obviously, because we haven't had a home game. But I am really excited being a Jersey guy and having the chance to coach a home game at Montclair State. I got a lot of family and friends that are coming. My former high school is bringing their boys and girls teams, so that's pretty cool. My daughters are most excited. They like to, if we win home games, they get to come into the locker room and high five the guys after the game. So they keep waiting for that opportunity. But just really looking forward to seeing the campus community out, seeing the student athletes support our guys, but seeing the general student population be there. And as I tell people all the time, if nothing else, we're entertaining. So I look forward to packing Panzer and seeing what we can do.
Thank you, Coach, so much for joining us. That'll do it from us here at the Red Hawk Spotlight. Another thank you to Coach Potts for being here. My name is Jared Alvarez. I'll see you guys next time.